The training hall went silent the moment Kai walked in, not because she demanded attention, not because she carried herself like a warrior, but because every alien in that room could smell it on her. That unmistakable scent of a Deathworlder, predator blood, survival instinct carved into bone. Kai adjusted the strap of her bag and smiled. A real smile, the kind that showed teeth. The Galactic Combat Academy had seen exactly 3 humans before her. 2 washed out in the first week. 1 made it to month 2 before a training accident sent him home in a medical pod. The instructors whispered about humans like they were myths, fragile things from a savage world who thought they could compete with species that had evolved for war. She loved proving people wrong. Cadet Reeves, Instructor Vorn, stood at the front of the hall. His 4 arms crossed over his chin and his chest. His mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. You will partner with Cadet Threx for today's sparring session. Every head turned. Threx unfolded from his seat like a nightmare given form. 8 feet of corded muscle and predatory grace. His species, the Call, were apex hunters from a high-gravity world. They had crushed rebellions across 6 systems. Their military record was flawless. Their ego infinite. Threx looked at Kai the way someone might look at an insect. This is a human? His voice rumbled to the hall like distant thunder. The Academy grows desperate if they accept prey species now. Laughter rippled to the other cadets. Nervous, excited. Blood was about to be spilled, and they all knew it. Kai set her bag down slowly. Carefully, she rolled her shoulders and walked to the center mat without a word. Vorn's eyes, all 6 of them, tracked her movement. Sparring rules apply. First to yield or first to unconsciousness. Begin when ready. Threx stepped onto the mat with the confidence of someone who had never lost. He cracked his neck, flexed his claws, let his fangs show in what his species considered a battle grin. I will try not to break you, little human, he said, but I make no promises. Kai tilted her head. That is so sweet. I will try not to embarrass you too badly, but I also make no promises. The laughter died. Threx moved first. Fast, faster than something his size had any right to be. His clawed hand swept toward her throat in a strike meant to disable, to dominate, to prove a point. Kai was not there. She slipped inside his reach like water, like smoke, like something that should not exist. Her elbow found the pressure point in his forward arm. Her knee slammed into the nerve cluster just below his rib cage. Threx grunted, surprised, angry. He spun with a backhand that would have shattered concrete. Kai ducked under it and drove her fist into his kidney. Once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. The big alien staggered. What? His voice cracked. How are you? Still talking, Kai said. She danced back, light on her feet. You should focus more on fighting and less on your villain monologue. Threx roared, a sound that echoed off the walls and made several cadets flinch. He charged like a bull, like a freight train, like something unstoppable. Kai sidestepped at the last possible second. She grabbed his arm as he passed, used his momentum against him, twisted her hips and threw all of her body weight into a lever that sent 8 feet of apex predator crashing face first into the mat. The impact shook the floor. Silence. Threx tried to rise. Kai was already moving. She dropped onto his back, wrapped her arm around his throat in a chokehold that cut off blood flow to his brain. Her legs locked around his torso. Squeezed. Yield, she said quietly, calmly, like she was asking about the weather. Threx clawed at her arm, tried to buck her off. His strength was immense, overwhelming, terrifying. But leverage did not care about strength. Physics did not respect reputation. Kai tightened her grip. I said yield. Threx's movement slowed. His vision swam. Pride warred with survival instinct. Survival won. He tapped the mat 3 times. Kai released him immediately and rolled to her feet. She offered her hand. Good match. Threx lay there gasping, his eyes wide, his pride shattered into 1,000 pieces. He stared at her hand like it was a poisonous snake. Then he slapped it away. Deathworld or trash, he spat. Blood flecked his lips. You fight without honor. You use tricks and weakness instead of true strength. Kai's smile faded. I fight to win. Honor does not put food on the table. Honor does not keep you alive when someone wants you dead. But if it makes you feel better to blame your loss on my lack of honor instead of your lack of skill, you go right ahead. She turned and walked back to her bag, while Threx lay there seething. Vorn's mandibles clicked rapidly. Approval or concern? Kai could not tell. Class dismissed. Cadet Reeves, remain. The other cadets filed out in shocked silence. Threx pulled himself upright and limped toward the door. He paused, looked back at Kai with eyes full of hate and something else. Fear. The door closed. Vorn approached slowly. That was either the bravest or stupidest thing I have seen in 30 years of instruction. Why not both? Kai said. A sound like grinding stone emerged from Vorn's chest. Laughter. You have made an enemy today. Threx comes from a powerful clan. They do not forget insults. He insulted me first by assuming I was prey. To him, you are... Vorn's voice dropped. To most species in this galaxy, humans are curiosities at best and protein sources at worst. Your planet is classified as a Deathworld. Your evolution is an accident. You have no natural weapons, no armor, no venom. You are soft and slow and weak by every objective measure. Kai met his gaze without flinching, and yet here I am, still standing. Indeed. Vorn's mandibles spread in what might have been a smile. Do you know why humans terrify us, Cadet Reeves? Because we refuse to quit? Because you refuse to accept reality. Vorn turned toward the window overlooking the training grounds. Every species in this galaxy knows their place. They understand their limitations. They accept what they can and cannot do. But humans, he looked back at her. Humans look at impossible situations and ask why not. Humans fall and get back up. Humans face extinction and laugh in its face. You are not the strongest or the fastest or the smartest, but you are too stubborn to know when you are beaten. Is that supposed to be a compliment or an insult? Both. Vorn moved toward the door. Training resumes at 0600. Do not be late. And Kai stood alone in the empty training hall. Her hands started shaking. The adrenaline dump hit her all at once. She had fought and won, but Vorn was right. She had also painted a target on her back in a place where humans were already considered expendable. Her communicator buzzed. A message from her bunkmate, Sarah. Another human. One of only 5 in the entire academy. Did you really just choke out Threx the Untouchable in front of the entire class? Kai smiled despite herself. Maybe. You absolute legend. Come to the mess hall. Drinks are on me. Well, nutrient paste is on me, but we will pretend it is drinks. Be there in 10. Kai grabbed her bag and headed for the door. Her muscles ached. Her knuckles were bruised. Her shoulder throbbed where Threx had clipped her with that backhand. She felt fantastic. The corridor outside was empty. Her footsteps echoed on metal flooring. The academy was a massive station orbiting a gas giant, home to 3,000 cadets from across the galaxy, the best of the best, future officers and warriors and leaders, and 5 humans who refused to accept that they did not belong. She was halfway to the mess hall when she heard footsteps behind her. Heavy, deliberate. Kai did not turn around, did not slow down, but her hand drifted to the emergency beacon on her belt. Human. She stopped, turned slowly. 3 calls stood in the corridor, not cadets. Their uniforms marked them as instructors or senior officers. Their faces were scarred. Their eyes were cold. The one in front stepped closer. I am Vec, brother to Threx. You humiliated my kin today. Kai kept her voice level. Your brother challenged me. I accepted. I won. That is how sparring works. You cheated. I used technique and leverage. If your brother cannot handle that, maybe he should not be in a combat academy. Vecca's lips peeled back from his fangs. You have a sharp tongue for prey, and you have a lot of opinions for someone who is not there. The 2 behind Vec growled, low and menacing. The sound predators make before they strike. Kai's thumb found the panic button on her beacon. 1 press. security would come running. But pressing it meant admitting she needed help. It meant showing weakness. It meant proving every species right about humans being fragile and unsuited for military service. Her thumb hovered over the button. Vex smiled. Go ahead. Press it. Run crying to your instructors. Prove that humans are cowards who hide behind rules and regulations. Or, Kai said slowly, I could stand here and dare you to do something stupid in a corridor full of surveillance cameras. Vecca's smile faltered. Because here's the thing about humans, Kai continued. Her voice dropped to something cold and sharp. We do not just fight with our fists. We fight with laws and witnesses and evidence. You touch me here, in this corridor, with cameras recording every second, and it does not matter how powerful your clan is. You will be dishonorably discharged. Your family name will be disgraced. Your brother will be expelled for association. She took a step forward. So please, make a move. Give me a reason. The three calls stared at her. Confusion and anger warred on their faces. Then Vec laughed. A bitter, hateful sound. You are clever, human. I will give you that. But cameras do not watch everywhere. Accidents happen. And when they do, he leaned in close. No one will care about one dead Deathworlder. They turned and walked away. Kai stood there until her legs stopped shaking. Then she went to find Sarah and that terrible nutrient paste and pretend her hands were not trembling, because tomorrow training would resume, and the day after that, and every day until graduation, or death or glory. And Kai Reeves was not here to quit. The mess hall smelled like burnt plastic and regret. Sarah waved from a corner table, her red hair tied back in a braid that defied academy regulations. She pushed a tray of gray slop across the table as Kai sat down. Behold, Sarah said with mock reverence. Tonight's special is recycled protein with a hint of existential dread. Kai poked the substance with her fork. It jiggled. Is it supposed to move? Only if it likes you. They ate in silence for a moment. Around them, aliens of every shape and size clustered in species-specific groups. The VRYNN with their crystalline bodies that refracted light, the Thale with their 4 legs and compound eyes, the Morok, massive and lumbering, who could survive in hard vacuum, and in the corner, 5 humans, the smallest species in the room, the weakest on paper, the ones who did not belong. So, Sarah said eventually, want to talk about the death threat? Kai looked up sharply. How did you? Corridor cameras feed to security, but they also feed to the Academy network. And I may have access to that network that is not strictly authorized. Sarah grinned. Perks of being the only human in the technical operations program. They assume I am too primitive to understand their systems. Are you? Absolutely not. I hacked their mainframe on day 2. Currently have admin access to everything except the command-level protocols, and I am working on those. She leaned forward. 3 call cornered you, threatened you, walked away. You did not press your panic beacon. Pressing it would have made things worse. Pressing it would have created a record. Now it is your word against theirs. Kai stabbed her food with more force than necessary. They wanted me to press it, wanted to prove humans are weak. I was not going to give them the satisfaction. Pride is going to get you killed. Maybe, but at least I will die standing. Sarah sighed and pulled out a datapad. Okay, so here's what I found. Threx comes from the Call Warrior caste. His clan has produced generals, fleet commanders, and planetary governors. His brother Vec is a senior combat instructor and has connections all the way up to the Academy board. Wonderful. I picked a fight with alien royalty. You did not pick the fight. Threx did. You just finished in a way that made him look stupid in front of his peers. Sarah scrolled through files. But here is the interesting part. Threx has never lost a sparring match. Not once. Not ever. His record is perfect. Until today. So I ruined his perfect score. That still does not explain why his brother is threatening me in hallways. It does if you understand call culture. Sarah turned the datapad around. They are honor-bound warriors. Reputation is everything. A loss in combat is acceptable if your opponent is stronger, faster, or more skilled. But losing, Kai leaned back in her chair. So what are my options? Apologize? Throw the next match? Neither. Both would make it worse. To them, you're already an insult just by existing. Sarah pulled the datapad back. But there's good news. Academy rules protect you. Any assault outside sanctioned training results in immediate expulsion. The call might hate you, but they want to graduate more. Then why threaten me at all? Because they are hoping you will quit. Pack your bags. Go home. Prove that humans do not have what it takes. Sarah met her eyes. They are betting on you breaking before they have to break rules. Then they are going to lose that bet. Footsteps approached. Kai tensed, but it was just Marcus, another human cadet. He was tall, lean, and moved like someone who had grown up fighting. Because he had. Gang wars in the underground cities of Earth. He joined the academy to escape, or to find new fights. Probably both. Heard you made Threx cry, Marcus said, dropping into a seat. Nice work. He did not cry. He should have. That choke was textbook. Marcus stole a piece of protein from Sarah's tray. She slapped his hand, but he was already chewing. But now you have a problem. Just one? I must be doing better than I thought. Threx is not going to let this go. Neither is his brother. They will come at you sideways. Mess with your gear. Sabotage your training runs. Maybe poison your food. Kai looked down at her tray with new suspicion. Marcus laughed. Relax. If they were going to poison you, it would be during individual meal prep, not mess hall service. Too many witnesses. That is not as comforting as you think it is. Look, I have been here longer than you. 6 months. I have seen what happens to humans who threaten alien pride. They get isolated. They get hazed. Training accidents increase. Equipment fails at critical moments. And if they still do not quit, Marcus's expression darkened. Medical discharge. Psychological evaluation. Failure to meet standards. The Academy has a dozen ways to get rid of someone without technically breaking the rules. Sarah nodded. He is right. 2 of the 3 humans who washed out, they did not quit. They were pushed. So what do I do? You document everything, Sarah said, tapping her datapad. I am already pulling footage and creating backups. Any incident, any failure, any suspicious event goes on record. And you train harder, Marcus added. Become so good they cannot touch you without it being obvious. Excel at everything. Make yourself untouchable. And if that does not work? Marcus smiled. It was not a nice smile. Then you remind them why humans are called Deathworlders. Over the next 3 weeks, Kai lived on a knife's edge. Her gear malfunctioned during a zero-gravity drill. She nearly spun into a bulkhead at terminal velocity before grabbing a handhold. Instructor Vorn said it was user error. The maintenance logs, which Sarah pulled, showed the safety tether had been cut. During a wilderness survival exercise on the Academy's training moon, her emergency beacon went missing from her pack. She spent 2 days in hostile terrain with no way to call for help. She made it back bloodied and exhausted but alive. The beacon was later found in another cadet's locker. No one could explain how it got there. Her training scores were scrutinized more carefully than any other cadet. A perfect run was marked down for minor form issues. A flawless tactical simulation was failed for taking too much time. When she complained, she was told humans simply had different standards. But Kai did not break. She trained before dawn and after dark. She studied combat theory until her eyes burned. She sparred with anyone who would face her and learned to read alien body language, to predict attacks, to exploit weaknesses that centuries of evolution had created. And slowly, grudgingly, some cadets began to respect her. Not the call, never the call. They watched her with cold hatred and waited for her to fail. But others saw something different. They saw someone who refused to quit, who took every hit and came back stronger, who represented something most aliens had forgotten, the refusal to accept defeat. It all came to a head during the mid-term combat assessment. Every cadet was required to face 3 opponents in succession. No breaks, no mercy, when all 3 or failed the term. Kai's opponents were randomly selected by the Academy AI. At least, that was what the rules said. But when her name appeared on the board with her matchups, the entire hall went silent. Opponent 1, a VRYNN shock trooper. Fast, lethal, trained in energy blade combat. Opponent 2, a Thale grappler. 6 limbs, each capable of crushing bone. Opponent 3, Threx. Sarah grabbed Kai's arm. This is not random. Someone rigged the selection. Probably. You could file a protest. And prove I'm scared? Kai shook her head. No, I will fight. Marcus appeared at her other side. Then fight smart. Conserve energy. The VRYNN is fast but light. Use environment. The Thale is strong but slow. Stay mobile. And Threx. He met her eyes. You already know how to beat him. Trust yourself. The assessment arena was a circular platform surrounded by energy barriers. Seats rose in tiers around it, packed with cadets and instructors. Kai walked to the center and tried not to think about how this felt like a Roman Colosseum. Her first opponent materialized across from her. The VRYNN, all sharp angles and crystalline armor, activated twin energy blades that hummed with lethal power. The buzzer sounded. Kai moved. She had spent 3 weeks studying VRYNN combat doctrine. They relied on speed and precision. They expected opponents to dodge or block. They did not expect someone to charge straight at them. Kai closed the distance before the VRYNN could build momentum, got inside the reach of those deadly blades, grabbed the alien's wrist, and used their own forward motion to throw them over her hip. The VRYNN hit the ground hard. Kai was on them instantly, pinned the blade arms, drove her knee into the joint where crystalline armor was weakest. The VRYNN tapped out. 12 seconds. The crowd roared. Surprise, excitement, disbelief. Kai stood and moved back to center, her muscles already burning. 2 more to go. The Thale entered the arena like a walking tank. The Thale charged. Kai ran. Not away. Toward. At the last second, she dropped into a slide, went under the massive alien, grabbed the lowest limb and twisted. The Thale crashed down. Kai scrambled up its back, wrapped her arms around its throat. But the Thale had 6 limbs. It peeled her off like a sticker, threw her across the arena. Kai hit the barrier and tasted blood. Her vision swam. The Thale was already coming. She rolled aside as a fist cratered the floor where her head had been, used the barrier to push off, landed on the Thale's back again. This time she did not go for a choke. She drove her thumb into the nerve cluster behind its jaw. A human anatomy professor once told her that most species had similar vulnerabilities. Pressure points where nerves cluster close to the surface. The Thale screamed and bucked. Kai held on, found another pressure point, then another. The massive alien collapsed. Kai rolled free and stood gasping. Everything hurt. Her lungs burned. Her muscles screamed. One more. Threx entered the arena to thunderous applause from the call section. He had been training. She could see it in the way he moved. More controlled. More cautious. He had learned from their last fight. Good. So had she. They met in the center. Threx's eyes blazed with hatred and something else. Desperation. He could not lose again. Not here. Not in front of everyone. This time, he growled, I will break you. Kai smiled through bloody teeth. You can try. The buzzer sounded. They clashed like thunder. Threx was faster now. Smarter. He did not overextend. Did not give her openings. He pressed her hard, used his reach and strength to keep her defensive. Kai gave ground. Let him think he was winning. Let him get confident. Then she changed levels, ducked under a punch, came up inside his guard, drove her elbow into his solar plexus, her knee into his thigh, her palm into his chin. Threx staggered, angry, confused. Kai did not give him time to think. She attacked in a blur of strikes that targeted every vulnerable point she had memorized. Nerve clusters, joint locks, pressure points. Not enough to win with power, but enough to win with precision. Threx swung wildly. Kai ducked. His momentum carried him forward. She grabbed his arm. drop her weight, use leverage in physics, and every lesson Earth had taught her about fighting things bigger and stronger. Threx flew. He hit the ground hard enough to crack the platform. Kai moved in, applied the same choke as before, her arm around his throat, her legs locked. "Yield," she whispered. Threx thrashed. Rage. His pride would not let him quit. His body had other ideas. Consciousness began to fade. Kai felt it. The moment he went limp, she released immediately, rolled away, raised her hand. "Referee, he is unconscious." Medical drones swarmed in. The crowd erupted, half in cheers, half in outrage. Kai stood alone in the center of the arena, bleeding, exhausted, victorious. Instructor Vorn approached slowly. His mandibles clicked in that way that might have been approval. "Cadet Reeves," he said loud enough for everyone to hear. "You pass." The call section sat in stunned silence. Kai looked up at them, met Vecca's eyes, smiled. Then she walked out of the arena with her head high and her spirit unbroken, because that was what Deathworlders did. They survived. Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.